just say that the meeting of the Dart Board is meeting here June 9th, 2025 is now called to order. And of course, this is some of the teams, the on-air monitors, and of course, our chief engineer, John AAAUU. And I understand that John and David and who else was with you? I think
Tony.
Tony, that's right.
Tony,
Tony was with you. Yeah. So we're looking forward to hearing how all that went. We were talking about this before, so we know the money is where it needs to be now. So that's a good news. And then don't forget we're trying to keep all of our project uh, files all in one place that's accessible. If you have any trouble with this, please speak up and let us know. And I know Vera, thank you for getting us going here on this. And then, of course, in the business part there, we'll talk about the how purchasing and all that sort of stuff. So let's just jump to the great news here. Some good news. So I slightly modified your antenna. Uh, I don't know. Oops, sorry. Uh, but so we got this off and running, and Dave, I know you and Tony and John was up there this weekend. You want to just bring us up to date? Did you mount anything? Is this what you saw when went up there, minus the fog, or how did things look while on Sunday there?
all right. I just took over sharing, so you can actually see my screen now.
I can.
Should be able to. You should
I
see.
do.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. Excuse me. So, myself and Tony and John went up there. We mounted this dish. We had some difficulty aligning it. So we had used the designer tool. It gave me the both the what do they call it? The azimuth and the elevation that we should be pointing the antenna. Unfortunately, there is so much metal on the roof. All three compasses. We brought two cell phones, an Android, an Apple, and a real compass, and they all just went haywire. So we threw it at the wall to see what had happened. We attached it and we pointed it generally in the general direction of Hazel Park. And then, excuse me. And then I went on my own to Scout Park, and it was bonkers. There was a graduation party happening, so I went over to the high school. I went over there with this in the back of my car, and I strapped the dish onto a handicap parking sign to see if I could get it to connect, and there was no hope. Absolutely no connection whatsoever. But there was a tower that we had pointed the antenna, or excuse me, the transmitter in the general direction of, and it was way over like Ferndale direction, like it was miles away from where I needed it to be. So that was unfortunate. It was a failed test, but John said that it's possible he might have an opportunity to go up there this week, and he'll just nudge the antenna, I guess, out of the building, left if you're standing behind the antenna. It needs to be nudged over to the left. So he said he's going to try and do that. If he doesn't have an opportunity to do it this week, I'm going to go back up on Sunday. The Sunday receptionist is very helpful. And I'm just going to nudge it over to the left just a little bit.
Okay. I
Yeah,
have two questions, I guess.
sure.
One, what is the power of the link and the gain of the dish? Do you know offhand?
Yeah, 29 dBi.
The dish is 29. And you know the power, the output power?
Give me a second. Let me see if I can find it. I'm not sure, to be honest,
Mm.
but give me a second and let me
Okay.
just see. So it's
Because we could do a link, but what's wrong with my camera here? It's falling down here. Because we could do a link budget just to confirm that, first of all, the distance, the distance and all that. Like,
oh no, I'm not concerned. So the designer, I remember I showed you the designer and the heat map. So that's actually made by the manufacturer. And these dishes on paper anyway, if I point it in the right direction, I get full gigabit throughput in Ann Arbor. Like so there's more than plenty of power there to get it over. But also I'm connecting to the first Vernell. I'm not actually connecting directly to the dish because there's stuff in the way
right,
because the mounting location at Scout Park is so low. I'm only mounting at 6 feet
right,
opposed to
right.
170. So I'm trying to get high to come down. But it's not perfect. But in theory it should work. And um
Yeah.
actually
So right. And, the other trick is to find to find a landmark. And while we're at it, Andrew is here and Mark Raymond is here and Mike VDZ and Mark MAF, Mike KAWU, John WATOY, Vera KE8RFQ, request for quotation. Len, 88FK, Joe, WB8ADX, and last but not least, and one of the inspirations behind much of what happens here, Dave, W8HOO. I hope I have everybody, and host, and Tony, and 8VR. So, no, Tony, we were just talking about lining up the dishes. So, okay, so it takes a couple times. I guess finding a
so
landmark is really one of the best ways of being able to line those things up. But
Another
Dave,
thing you might try doing, it sounds to me like these dishes are like any other dishes where you get a lot of game, but it comes at the cost of beam negative 3 dB beam width. So
oh
if you're
yeah,
slightly off, or in this case, it sounds like you're pretty well off, you're not going to get a whole very much of a signal at all because it's all going to be beamed toward Ferndale, not Hazel Park. But I guess
yeah.
what you could try is since your compass isn't going to work when you get up to the top of that building, maybe take a gander on it and go point A to point B on something simple as Google Earth or Google Maps or something like that, and determine the angle of azimuth angle where that needs to go.
We used 696, but I just overshot. That's all it was.
Okay. Well,
Um,
isn't
okay.
isn't there that antenna, the WOMC antenna there? Is that
OMC's on Woodward Heights in Ferndale.
is that near Scout Park?
It's it's more near Green Acres than near Scout Park.
Oh, Green Acres, Green Acres. I see. Well,
Joe,
it's in the
uh,
name. I mean, it's a good place to start anyway.
hey Dave,
so
would it?
one second. So Joe, you asked about the power. So it's 25 dBm with a 29 dBi antenna gain.
Wait, sorry. Let me grab my pencil. What was that again?
25 dBm,
Okay.
and the antenna gain is 29 dBi.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Hey
All right.
Dave,
Yeah, go ahead.
maybe one thing we can try is just a shorter thing. Maybe you do end up at the zoo, and I'm at the tower, or John's at the tower, and we, you know, just do a quick thing to make sure that at a much shorter or line of sight distance, like that, you know, um, and then keep going further. Because we right now you're right. We got a couple of variables. Is it the distance? Is it the fact that we're misaimed? Or is it So I'm
I'm
just. But
I'm confident that the distance is fine and that we're just misaimed. If we're gonna have two people doing this at the same time, I would prefer to go set up at Scout Park and have
Where?
somebody
Well,
adjust.
that's what I was just going to ask, Dave. Would it be helpful if I was stationed out at Scout Park when you try it again?
I mean, anybody. It's I can go out there with the equipment, set it up, and show you what you're looking for, and then somebody would go to the retirement location and adjust that antenna until you start making noise, like until it actually makes the connection.
Yeah, I was just gonna say if somebody's there to adjust the antenna while you actively have something listening on the other end and the
Yeah.
point where you want to be, that's how you know it's either going to work or it's not. So
It's so much easier to do with two buildings, like a
oh,
permanent link. This is a proof of concept in a park on a bit of 2x4. Like we're just seeing if this is going to work.
would it be more? Dave, you said something about mounting the dish at 6 feet. Is there a way you could possibly maybe get that higher? There's got to be somebody with an aluminum mast in this club that could, when went out for this purpose, get you up like 10 or 15 or something. Still won't be perfect, but
The intention for if we're going to use it on field day, the intention was to use the pipe that we normally put the talk in on, which is like 10 feet tall. But I don't have that.
the other issue you got to worry about is, longer coax run and at 5 gig, that's got to be some pretty pricey coax you're using.
No.
It's
That's
not
all,
coax, it's Cat 6.
it's all
Oh,
one.
so okay. So it doesn't really matter how long it is because it's not
Right.
turning RF until it gets up on the pole anyway. Okay, yeah, that's actually a really good idea. It's actually what the ICOM IC905, microwave radio was based on. And no,
Right.
I don't own one because I don't want to spend $2,500 on a radio I'm never going to use.
Yeah.
I got a fence post. Somebody can take if they want to take it. It's about 8 feet or something like that. It's pretty sturdy.
Yeah, I've got an 8 foot 2x4, which is what I was using, just like as a temporary something that I had in my car. But
But
for field day, we'll need to use something a bit more stout.
well, for testing purpose, put the two together and you got 18 feet. So
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah, and I was just
Um,
thinking, I think it's a 25-foot telescoping, um, it's some kind of plastic. I don't know what kind of plastic it is. And that's in the back of my truck. So I'm just going to leave it there. I'll have it for field day if you want it, Dave.
yeah, I do. Yes.
I don't have any provision to stand it up.
Okay.
I've never, I got it and never have used it the way I intended to use it.
Okay.
it's sturdy enough for the weight.
Yeah, how much does that weigh?
No. 7 pounds.
Oh yeah,
All right.
I
Yeah,
expect it'll be fine.
I have a stackable mast too. It's like 4 foot sections that stack and then a base that tilts. That could be used too.
Okay. All right. Don't forget there's some wind resistance on that, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also have, this is Mike, WAVPC.
Oh, Mike.
It's not
Welcome.
WAWU.
Hello, Mike.
He's in
Glad
here.
you're there. All right.
John, TOY, gave me a whole bag full of the military fiberglass sections.
Oh yeah, I forgot about those.
Remember that?
Yeah, actually, I got those from John Teagarden. So
Well, I don't think I'm going to be using them, and I was about ready to ask John if he wants them back.
no,
I don't remember how many poles there were.
I never take anything back that I can get rid of.
So you guys can use that if you want to. Also, the guys up north bought telescoping masts from Harbor Freight. It's aluminum flagpole, basically. And they wanted to put a Yaesu screwdriver antenna on the top of that, which didn't work, obviously. So I would, if you need something that's, well, VDZ said you got a telescoping mast in your truck, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, there's several ways we can get around to doing that, or point that antenna down
Okay.
My microphone.
So
Okay.
oh, here's here's the designer. So you can see that it's 5.5 miles. Here's the main location at 170 feet, and here's the park location at 6 feet. And you can see that it's like not super happy, but it says that we should be getting 800 meg capacity. Let's do. I mean, even 400 meg capacity should be more than ample for what we're looking to do. So, and this designer, it gave me 101 east with a negative, call it 0.5 degree tilt. And then this was 282 with a positive 0.5 tilt. Um, so we were able to do this, but we were not able to do this because we could not get 101 east.
Because why?
Just because the compass, like we weren't able to figure out where 101 was.
Oh, I
So
see.
we just had to generally do it. And I think what happened was, let me minimize this for a moment.
Can
So I think what happened was we actually aimed it like somewhere over here as opposed to here. So there was a substantial difference between there was a 2 mile difference where we were supposed to be.
can you show where that tower, the WOMC tower is in relation to what we're looking at?
Keep going till you see Wilbert Heights show up.
Another half mile.
Oh, 9.5. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Okay,
There it
yeah.
is.
It's this little. Okay.
I see it.
It's this right here.
So
Okay.
if you aim for that tower, you measure that angle. What is that angle? Like maybe 15, 20 degrees further south, right?
Well, so that one's 101. If we,
I guess I can nuke
yeah,
that. Okay.
yeah, so 101 and 6 is 5 degrees.
Yeah. So, and my gut feeling is at that distance, the beam width is going to be wide enough anyway. But if you know, you just go a little bit to the right of
Yeah.
that tower, you know that you're in there.
Yep.
But um, and there's no line of sight,
Yeah.
right? Even if you
Or
get
you
up to the
could, you
roof.
know what you could do is you could aim toward the high school because that kind of splits the difference.
This
But you won't be
school,
able to see that. Yeah, but the problem is you won't be able to see the high school
yeah.
Yeah.
uh from the roof of the Oak Park building.
Yeah, you
Right.
almost need like a scope because literally we're on the roof just pointing this thing in a general direction. So
Let's
without,
say somebody's got to
Yeah.
have some binoculars.
Right in front of the Scout Park is the middle school. There's
Yeah.
a big
Over
school
here,
right in front of Scout Park.
over here somewhere at Green Acres direction, is there a tower? There's another tower over here somewhere because that's the tower we aimed at.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
you aimed at, I know what one you aimed at. You aimed at the one in Royal Oak Township where 94.7 broadcasts out of,
Okay, yeah.
which
I
is
just
way
know
off.
that from the
That's eight
roof,
and a half of Wyoming.
from the roof, we could see two towers. There was one on the left and one on the right, and we aimed at the one on the right. So that was our mistake. It
Oh,
might
that's the one you can see most easily because it's actually fairly close to
Yeah, I would have thought
No,
you.
it was the further away one. It was in the mist. It was in the fog.
I think it's an elevation. Maybe it's an elevation
Well,
adjustment.
if you got
Maybe.
somebody at Scout Park watching a meter, you can
Yeah,
just scan back and forth until you see something blip and then zero in on it.
and that's what VPC said that he would do.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, okay. Well, that was a pretty exciting stuff, I must say.
Yeah, and so this designer, you can see that it built and it shows you here that you're actually connecting to the first Fresnel. You're not actually connecting directly because it's obstructed.
Yeah.
And it's
Oh,
because
okay.
I'm at 6. And I mean, like even if we went to like 20 foot, it doesn't improve. So it doesn't get that much better. It's you got to
Yeah.
be like up like 50 foot before you start to get any difference between 6 foot and 50 foot.
What
It's
are
all
those?
the
What
same.
are those jagged peaks in the background?
That's things that are in the way.
So that's tree line then.
It's tree line, buildings,
Buildings.
houses, whatever.
Okay,
It's
got it.
just stuff.
As much as they know. Yeah. All right, cool. Very well, I bet you'll get it the second time. All right.
Especially if you know VPC or somebody is able to be on the other end while we try and adjust.
Yeah, I
Uh,
can definitely help you out there, Dave. Just let me know when.
and I just want to point this out as well that I can actually increase in this simulation. I can increase the RF noise, so I have it here quite high because of we're right beside the repeater, and we're still getting 800 throughput. So even if I increase this up to like very noisy, we're still getting, you know, quite a good signal.
That's unmanageable. I mean,
60 good. There's
back in the day, if we got 20 megabit,
yeah,
oh my God, 20 megabits per second, we could get six TV signals on that.
yeah.
5 megabits each, and they all look like cartoons. Anyway, all right. Wow.
And we are also using the 100 megahertz wide channel width. So we're using up quite a bit, but I mean it's part 15, so we can use whatever we want.
Okay. All right.
No licensing required.
Amazing
Okay.
something like that powerful would be part 15.
Yep.
It's a point. Yeah.
And it's what did I
Is
say?
that the antenna?
Uh yeah, 25 dBm. It's the power.
Okay. Wow.
Right.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, well, I think that is very cool. Very, very cool. Step into the future. All right, now let's step into the present. Hold on, let me grab my sharing thing here. We'll step into the present. Screen one. Share. Am I sharing, I hope?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, excellent. All right, so now stepping into the present. So let's talk about our current antenna situation here. And good. So Mike, W8VPC is here with us, which is a good step there to be able to take and sort of flush through this. So I focus a little bit on what are the next steps to getting the antenna sorted out, and let's get going on this. And so I know that uh, these are some of the things that we'll have to get sorted out. So let me just run through them just real quick, and then we'll have discussion. So of course, our plan development in terms of how are we actually mounting this? How is this antenna going to be mounted to the building? So that's a big thing. Then plot existing footprint, and Len came up with, you know how sometimes the answer is like right in front of you and you don't even recognize it, you know? So Len said, well, hey, listen, use the repeater crawl, the results from the repeater crawl. Am I still connected? Can you still hear me?
Yep.
We got you, Joe.
Oh, I know. I'm looking at the wrong screen. Okay, that's why. Thank you. Okay, anyway, so yeah, so the repeat, yeah, what a great idea that is. I did go to that website, but it's not connected. So, but we can follow up on that later. Anyway, so I think we should get at least two proposals anyway. I know, Mike, you want to work with the group there,
I have a
MI5.
comment.
What?
Comment.
Yes, please go ahead. Take it
Um,
away.
when you did the repeater crawl, that means all the remote receivers were turned on. When we do our test, we turn off the remote receivers and just get the main site, what the coverage is with the old antenna on the main site. Once we replace the antenna, I would suggest that we do another plot with the new antenna and then compare the two plots. Then we can turn on the remote receivers.
Right. Right. That would certainly make sense because the remote, right, exactly right. Right. With and let me just ask the other thing I just wanted to run, and I know I said if I repeat myself, which I know I do sometimes, uh, I'm looking for oh, I know. So to do the footprint, I'm hold on, I'm trying to find the right slide here. And I'm a little confused. Where am I here? Okay, so just um okay.
Welcome home. Glad to the meeting.
So this one here, there, I found it. So here's and so we talked about using this, which I think is a terrific idea because it gives us a lot of information. And someone had mentioned, well, why two inputs? We only need one. But if we had the two, we could do both the UHF and VHF site simultaneously, which I think would be very helpful. But I guess we take the next step. And Mike, Mike VD, Mike, yeah, VDC, Mike, right? So are you still up for going around taking some of the measurements if we get this up over to you there? Or can we work specifically off of the data, which I have not seen the data from the repeater crawl? The one thing that this does give us is it gives us a look into this interference issue, which we're going to have to wrestle to the ground, and something tells me it may be more than one issue. So that's one of these advantages. But the important thing, of course, is to get the momentum moving. And if we have the data from the repeater crawl, we certainly should have that to start with. And if we can augment it with something a little bit more detailed, like something like this, that would be even better. And particularly I think it's a 2 mile range of the repeater where people are complaining that there's an interference between this and the other repeater. So
Yeah, and Joe, the data from the repeater crawl, that is only going to give you signal reports that people give from their machine to the repeater. Is that what
true,
you're
yeah.
looking for?
Uh,
5.9,
It's a
3,
start. It's a
6?
start, Mike. It's a working, but it's has this native size too. For one thing, you want to work with base station with more mobiles and portables. That's where you want to get your data from. Base
Right.
station to base station is not relevant to what we're doing.
Yeah, and most of the repeater crawl is base station.
It's true, but
I
it's a
was gonna bring
starting
that, I
point.
was going to bring that up also, Lynn. Thank you.
Yeah.
well, I think just to have in the files would be a good thing to have that data, you know. This certainly is a lot more accurate and gives us a much clearer picture of exactly what's going on. And I would say, why don't we do both? And we'll likely incorporate this into the repeater system anyway, eventually as a permanent monitor of some sort, I would guess. So anyway, I just wanted to point that
Let
out.
me add something else here, Joe. I put in that email to you.
Yeah,
It looks like since we're putting up a whole another system, if we can put both systems up, leave the old one up at the same time we put the new one in there, we don't have to take down the old one to get the new one going. So
ab
okay,
absolutely. In fact, I totally agree with we won't touch the old system and you know, and also it gives us a backup should something happen. Right now, if the repeater was to go down, we'd be off the air. We don't really have a backup, although I would suppose the quickest thing to do is everybody just goes to the UHF site and then you're back on the air. So I guess that would be the answer. But um, yeah, I would agree that going forward, sorry, I think the FedEx guys here. Right, going forward, we just keep everything where it is for now, and then that would be the last phase. Maybe we condense it or something like that, but uh, absolutely. All right, here are some other just things to consider here. Okay, so we had that. Oh yeah, so okay, so we're talking about the different stages, and I think we're pretty much understand the different steps that are involved in getting the repeaters. Well, the key thing is to be able to get our permits and our, get landlord approved. So we need something to be able to go to them and say, hey, look, this is what we're doing. So that's an important part of the step there. The hardware purchase and transportation and storage and all that, I think we've got that down pretty well. All right, again, this is what we're looking at. As we all know, we've seen these. This is the going through the side there. And we'll leave it to the experts to make the final determination. To me, this makes a lot of sense, but we'll see how that goes. I did come across.
But yeah,
Hey guys, I've got to bail here, so I will catch up with you later. And Dave, maybe you and I can talk at some point later.
yeah, and nice second, reaching out to the CMN group, W8CMN. Sean's obviously good point of contact, and Joe already knows Sean, so that's pretty easy to get a hold of him. And I also talked to Fred, W8FSM quite a bit. He's in that group too.
I'm sorry, Mike, I missed what you were saying.
I was just seconding reaching out to the CMN group, the W8CMN, because you already know Sean, so then he liaises with them. And then I know Fred, W8FSM, Fred Moses, who does all the tech stuff with these guys. They know and between the two of them, they know a bunch of tower climbers, I'm pretty sure. So,
okay.
And not
Okay.
that we're climbing a tower, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're there. We are there. We're ready to do some business there. All right. And the rest of it, I mean, we talked about this. So I mean, the only other thing is the Mike, VPC Mike. So are you on board with this antenna here? What's your feedback on it? It seems to be the one that meets most of the specifications. It's got a gain 8 dBi, which is a fraction better than the current antenna that we currently have. And also it has a decent wind, 150 mile an hour. Okay, I guess we'll take that. So, and there's alternate, whether or not this is the real price, I'm not sure. So we'll do more investigation on that. One thing that I did, and I know this isn't particularly accurate, but I'm just curious, there's always complaints about how the downward tilt is on the antenna. So I was wondering if this would help us figure it out, but I'm not sure how accurate it is, but it does give you a sense of what we're up against. This is the general shape of the building. Each one of these tick marks is one story. So that kind of gives you, according to their data, which is this drawing right here, an idea there. All right. And so, but that's pretty much, I don't have anything new above and beyond that at this moment. So I think we can, this, of course, we want to really work on. This would be terrific to get to the bottom of it and get this sorted out, all this interference and so on. So, okay then. Anybody have anything else to add to the mix? I'm just going through some of these. This is the Motorola repeater, the Arcom controller, and I think that's pretty much the duplexer. I got to get with John Teagarden. Also has some input. I just haven't had a chance to talk to him about this. So, all right.
We have everybody here. While we have everybody here, I'd like to make a statement. If you're ordering something and it's going to be shipped to my location, I would appreciate a heads up. Tell me what's being ordered, when you expect it delivered, so I can prepare for it and plan for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we're going to have a list and it will be on the shared site of when we put in the orders, I don't know if we're gonna have, well, we'll sort of have a purchase order number to just keep track of what all the orders are, but um, and make sure that we're all a heads up and in advance. And the board's going to take a look at most of what's going to be ordered before it's ordered anyway. But good point, and we will make sure that everybody's in the loop here.
And may I add, um, the person ordering it or his delegate, or at least the committee, should be the ones that actually unpack it and check it out, test it, whatever they got to do to it. Um, uh, I won't be doing that. The
Right.
people ordering it should be doing it.
Okay.
Well, if we're shipping it to your house, you'll be the one to sign off saying
I
you
don't mind.
received the
I don't
package.
mind. I don't mind signing for it that it's received, but I don't want to be responsible for unpacking it and all that stuff. And who knows about parts and you know what you ordered, and you can know how to check it out and make sure it's what you ordered.
So basically, you don't mind signing for the package, but in terms of making sure that what's on the packing list and what's in the package, that's the responsibility of the person who's responsible for the shipment in the first place, and that certainly makes a lot of sense. Absolutely.
And if there's any discrepancies, I'll follow through on it, and
Yep.
any warranty work and that kind of stuff. Um, I don't want to get caught up in that.
Absolutely. And nor should you. Okay. All right. All right then.
Duplexers I picked was Telwave TPRD 1456, which is 144 to 148, 6 can. And then the isolator is a T1560 CM, which mounts right on top of the duplexer. That way it's all one package.
No, was that in that email you sent?
That was in that my response to the last call.
Would you mind terribly if I asked you to send it again? I have it. Oh, I can find it. I'm sure I have it somewhere. I get more junk email than it's unbelievable.
Expect with the modern technology that this new system is going to be a lot smaller footprint, much easier to put upstairs there. Right now, that one rack, has a lot of extra stuff that's probably not being used. John said in there. Whether you use the same rack or put another rack up there, I don't know. But is that a correct impression that this is going to take a lot smaller footprint?
Yeah, well, yes. I mean, just look at the repeater itself.
Well, we're not touching the equipment inside the cabinet. This is
Yeah.
strictly outside the cabinet. And then once we determine that the antenna's good and all that, right to the transmitter, then we look at it and say, okay, we don't have a problem or we have a problem. Then we look at what's inside the cabinet.
But we could get like a half rack, right? Well, we'll see. We'll get all the equipment and we'll lay it out and we'll see how big the rack has to be. But yeah, I would agree with that. I would say we get a new rack and start absolutely from fresh. There's wires in that rack, in the existing rack, that you don't even want to, some of them are hanging by a thread. Well, I'm just exaggerating, but you know what I mean. I think once you start moving things around and modifying things in an existing rack, the risk rises for bumping something off air. And I mean, listen, ideally, if you could build the whole rack in your garage and test it in the garage and then move it up, that would be the ideal scenario, really.
Can I just ask, knowing nothing about the stuff that's outside of the rack, I know that we're getting a new antenna and feed line and the duplexer. Did somebody, I don't know, I might have missed it, but has somebody talked about a circulator? Do we need a circulator? What is a circulator? What is happening with the circulator?
Well, the circulator, the purpose of the circulator is to prevent intermodulation. So like back in the day when all those telephone companies were up there, and even today, I mean, we're right next to a broadcast FM station, and Channel 4 is like right down this street. In a high RF environment, what happens is the extraneous signals find their way into the transmitter, not the receiver, but into our transmitter, where there they mix with our outgoing signal, and that's what has the potential of creating harmonics and mixing products and all that intermod and all that stuff we don't want, right?
Yeah.
So the circulator, what it does, it's like a kind of like a diode for RF, sort of. It lets RF flow in one direction, but not the other.
Yeah.
So it lets the RF flow out of the transmitter and into the antenna, but it doesn't let signals flow from the antenna back into the transmitter. That's the
Yeah.
purpose of it.
It
So
routes RF from the antenna. If there is SW reverse reflected power, it routes it to a dummy load on the circulator.
Okay.
correct. That is correct. In fact, we may even have a picture of that.
I have seen a picture of one, and that's the one that is only good for 10 watts. Yeah, I see that. But is there one that we're looking at with this package? I guess that's a question for VPC. It's have you considered or looked at a?
I included that in my email response.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know if I was copied on that mail, so I didn't see
I
it.
don't think so, because I sent it off in a hurry.
Okay,
I copied some of the people, but not all the people. Not
That's fine.
individually.
That's fine, no problem. I don't need to be copied on it. I know that this picture was in here and it was only good for 10 watts, and I just wanted to make sure that that was addressed. That's all.
Yeah,
Oh,
the part
good.
number is T1560CM, and it's 144 to 148 or something like that.
Sorry,
And
can you shout that part number one more time, please?
T as in Tango 1560, C as in Charlie, M as in Mike.
Thank you so much.
And CM means cavity mount. So that's designed to mount right on top of the
That's what you said. I missed what you said. But I heard you say that it mounted right on top of the cavity. So thank you so much. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right then. So that's the latest. That's what we have to this moment. And we'll start moving ahead. And thank you. I see, Mike, I see you sent that here. Thank you very much for that. And I apologize for not being a little bit better organized.
Hey, Joe.
Yes, I saw this. Yes, go ahead.
Hey, you had gone back to the Wayne County repeater crawl. You had said that you had gone and the site was down or something like that.
Yeah, I got it. Said,
you-
did you get it?
Well, I've never ever seen that down.
Oh, well,
It's
I
a
got it.
Google Pages or Google Forms or something. You cannot Google the site and then click on it and go to it. You have to go to the URL.
That's what. Hold on, I think that's what
I
I
put
did.
it in the. I put it in the chat. I just put it in the chat.
Oh, you're in the chat. All right, that's a different place. But okay. Hold on.
Congratulations to whoever got that tiny URL. That's wow.
What?
What's that, Dave?
I just said congratulations whoever got that tiny URL to get repeater crawl and not repeater crawl 5 or repeater crawl Michigan or repeater crawl just repeater crawl. That's good going. Good job whoever got that tiny URL.
That was that's
I also
that's
don't
Keith
know
Armitage.
I thought that's where I went, but hold on.
I don't know of any other areas that do repeater crawls. I think this is the only one I've ever heard of, let alone.
Yeah. I'm
Oh.
surprised it hasn't taken off in other communities.
Well,
Yeah,
a lot of-
we're gonna
there's a
be
couple groups
starting
that
one
think
in the
that's
Tacoma.
kind of hokey for
Yeah.
them to do it, but at the same
Oh,
time,
look at
look how
that.
much information they have
Yeah,
on all these repeaters and how well people get
Yeah,
in.
that's it, Joe.
That's it, Joe. Now go on
Okay.
down
Yeah,
to
now
the different
okay.
There's
repeaters.
tabs in the bottom.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, in the bottom. Okay.
Yeah, go to all. You'll
Yeah,
see if you go to all, then
he's there. He's there. Just go on
Mm,
down.
well, he
Is
was.
all at the end. Did I go past
Go
all?
the
No,
other
no,
way,
go all
Joe.
the way to the
Other way.
go all the way to the
Uh,
beginning.
Other way
Yep.
to the beginning?
Yeah, and then you when it stops scrolling, yeah, the very
Right
yeah.
next to announcements, all. Yep.
Now, yeah, you'll see a list of every repeater they've ever used.
Oh, no, isn't that interesting?
And then you go find 146, 640, and then you can see where you see an S in the column under date as you scroll right. That's the times it's shown up on that repeater call. Then you go find the tab of that date, and then you can see how well people are getting in.
Oops. Can I scroll to the,
Like for instance, if you go to
oh, here, I see.
502,
I see. Oh, I see. Got it. Got it.
Yep.
yeah, then he's going to match it up with the tabs. Like for instance, I think they last used it on 2025 or 502. So if you go to that tab at the bottom,
Oh, I see. Got it. Oh, these are dates.
but no, like yeah, do click on that 2025 or 502 tab on the right there, the lower right. And then if you do that, you go find, their stock number 4 was the dart. And then you can see all these stations and where they were from and whether they could get in or how well they were hearing the net control versus how well the signal is coming in, which is what that S3 stroke 9 is. For instance, VA3 BZL in Tecumseh, Ontario, heard Keith, who was probably net control that night, at an S3, but the repeater signal is coming in S9. So that's really what that means.
Okay.
So this information, it's a little goofy how you get to it, but it's there and it's useful.
yeah. I don't know what I clicked on. So I can just save this, right? Anyway, I'll do that offline, but oh, very nice. Make a copy. Perfect. All right.
All right, folks.
Thank you very much. That's right. That's all
Right.
at this time, I guess. And thank you for noticing that 10 watt there. But this was really a dummy.
Yeah, I got it.
All right.
I got it.
Okay. Okay, folks. End of message, I guess. And that's it. All right. Well, thanks very much. And thank you. I appreciate your time and your thoughts and your feedback. And we've got momentum. Let's keep it going and keep up the conversation. Okay. I'll be in touch. Thanks.